we've been doing this for, like you said, almost 30 years now. So it's kind of
the wheels are on
exactly.
the track and they're just rolling. You guys got it figured out.
So.
Hey there, Omaha. Welcome into another episode of Hurrdat Hoppen. I'm your host, Dan Hoppen, and the restaurant that we are featuring today, I welcome with just warm, fuzzy feelings of nostalgia. And I think that a lot of people, when they visit this place, that's exactly what they feel. In my experience specifically, when I was a sophomore in high school, we would very typically have morning basketball practices. And so we'd practice in the morning. We would get done with practice around 7, shower. We'd have class starts at 8. What are we going to do in that time in between? We would hightail it down to Vidlak's and eat more pancakes and bacon and eggs than really any diet except the metabolism of a high schooler who plays basketball can take. And I just have such good memories from that. But even when I visit Vidlak's today, like all that just comes washing back, and I can, like, it's the nostalgia, it's the good meals, it's just good vibes at Vidlak's, and that's what I want to talk about today with one of the owners. This is Eric Vidlak. Eric, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
It's my pleasure. So Vidlak's has been a part of the Omaha community since 1996. We are talking about 28, going on 29 years, and almost 30 years in business. Wow, we're going to have to throw a big party for that. That is a very long run of success. What is it about Vidlak's that you think has allowed it to have such a sustained run?
I don't know. Everybody that works there is family, especially out front. You know, the kitchen, they're pretty much family, but not blood related. But and we did have a restaurant in the Benson area when I went to high school. So from maybe 88 to 92, we had it was called Vidlak's Family Cafe, and we had a little dinner theater there. Then we sold it and kind of got out of the business for a little while, and then we just happened to find this one in 96, and my brother, my dad, and I jumped in, and here we are still to this day.
Okay, that escaped me in my research. Tell me about this this place that you had in Benson.
So, yeah, it was on 6064 West Maple. I don't know what's there now. It's right next door to Haney Shoes.
Okay.
I worked there and cooked before I could even drive.
Was it a breakfast place too?
Yep.
Okay.
It was open, same hours, except we were closed on Sundays there. And then we had a dinner theater there at night that they would go in and out of the aisles, behind the counter, because we had a counter in that one with little bar stools. And so it's pretty much all I've done my whole life is work in the restaurant business. I worked at Wendy's after we closed that one for 4 years-ish, helped open the one on 132nd and Maple, and then when we found this restaurant for sale, that we decided to jump back into the restaurant business, and here we are. So
when you closed the one in Benson, was the idea always to find another restaurant, and you were just looking for that opportunity, or did this building come along and it was just like, well, this is a great opportunity? Like, what was the thought process there?
Well, my parents separated is the reason why we got rid of the business in Benson. My dad was managing some gas stations. My brother was working at gas stations. Like I said, I was managing Wendy's, and then my dad kind of wanted to get back into the restaurant, and he happened to win the Pick 5 for $30,000.
What?
My brother found this restaurant.
This is a lottery restaurant.
This is. So if he would have won the bigger jackpot, I might not be working right now still. No, I'm just kidding. I've been blessed to work with my brother and my dad and the rest of the family. And we had one in Bellevue that didn't really work out. I think maybe it might have been too soon. And we also had one in Gretna, but that one maybe too soon also. Gretna's a lot bigger now, but we had that one in, maybe 22 years ago. So it's been a little while, but this one has always done well for us. And it's nice that we're not spread thin and we could all, so I'm not there. My brother's there. Someone's always there to help run the show. So you're not by yourself and trying to do everything. So
Okay, so take me back to 1996 because you guys, you said you had this restaurant. It was a family deal. You basically grew up there. You cooked there. You worked there. You're working with your family, and then you guys kind of went your different ways for a few years. I mean, you said your parents separated. You were managing Wendy's. Dad and brother were doing car stuff. What was it like to come back together and do the restaurant thing again?
Yeah, it was fun, and it's different when some people can't work with family, but at least at the end of the day we go to our own houses, so you don't have to worry about arguing or fighting. But no, it's just it's been good, and some days you want to complain, but really I have nothing to complain about. We've been super blessed, and at first people were worried about if it would be able to support all three of us, and like I said, now my aunt works there, my cousin works there, her kids work there, my two nieces work there, my two kids work there, my sister-in-law and her mom. I mean, so we have a lot of families that work there now, and it's been really good for us. So
how important is that for you to have family and just so many people that you're so close to, intertwined with the DNA of the restaurant?
Yeah, it's good because then you also can get mad at them and you don't have to worry about them really quitting, because they're still in the family. So no, but yeah, it's been a blessing for us and for our family. So
I mean, after almost 30 years in business, I think most people know of Vidlak's and know what and where it is, but just in case you don't, located off 156th and Center, just a nice, cozy little cafe there. And I think as much as people love the food at diners, I think what makes a diner is just what you feel like when you walk into it. A great diner should make, even if it's your first time, it should make you feel like welcome, like you've been there before. And I think Vidlak's gives off that feel. What do you think about your restaurant does that? Why do people get that feeling when they visit?
I think the people that or the family member, that takes care of them, but also my aunt, she knows everybody's names. She just talks to everybody, which is great. I don't get out front that much anymore. I'm stuck in the back, but my dad, when he's there, he gets to go around and say hi. And, I just think, I don't know, it's not a chain. It's some days I think, oh, we should redesign it, redecorate it, but, it's done so well for this long. Why?
If it ain't broke.
Exactly.
It doesn't need to be fixed.
Exactly.
Yeah, you guys got a good thing going. How, when we talk about that atmosphere, how important is it, do you think, to have so many members of your family there? Because you guys are so comfortable together already. You know each other. You know each other's lives. Don't push this person's buttons this way, or hey, that guy, my dad's really frustrated right now. I just got to let him go for the moment. Some of those frustrations that can come up in kitchens and restaurants sometimes, maybe you're able to sidestep those a little bit and you just have that natural cohesion because you've been around these people. Do you think that contributes to that welcoming nature of the restaurant?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, like you said, sometimes things get a little out of hand sometimes, but then you move on and you don't have to, worry about, because everybody kind of goes off a little bit every once in a while, but then 5 minutes later, they're just fine. So, and I might be one of those people that do that. So
that's all good. It happens. You got to let off some steam sometimes. And I think you said something really interesting a couple minutes ago. You said something along the lines of, not every family could work together.
Oh, yeah.
And I know that that's very true. In fact, just trying to picture my family in that setting, especially in a high stress environment like a restaurant. I don't know. I love you guys, but I don't know how great we would do running a restaurant. What do you think it is about your family? What are some of the qualities that you have that allow you to, maybe there are times where things get a little heated, but ultimately you guys are able to come back together and face it together?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it also helps that we've been doing it for so long.
Oh, sure.
At first, yeah, there was things kicked and thrown and words were said, but that doesn't happen like that anymore. That often, people might get upset and say a few things, but it's not like it used to be when we first started. But like I said, we've been doing this for, like you said, almost 30 years now. So it's kind of
the wheels are on
exactly.
the track and they're just rolling. You guys got it figured out.
So,
all right. Well, let's talk about some food.
Okay.
On your website, you guys claim that your food is so good that you'll think we stole your mom, which is an awesome tagline, by the way. When you're describing someone, or when you're describing the menu at Vidlak's to someone for the first time, how do you describe it to them?
Home style cafe food. I mean, we make all the soups, all the chili, the meatloaf. So it's just I just always just say it's just like home cooked food, and that's my problem, as I tend to indulge on the chicken fried chickens for breakfast and chicken fried steaks, and so, but
well, I mean, I find your menu pretty interesting because I think you have there are classic breakfast / diner dishes that I expect to see on just about every menu when I walk into a breakfast place. And you have those. You've got the Denver omelet, the corned beef hash, the chicken fried steak. But you do mix things up a little bit. You've got a hamburger omelet. You've got a breakfast sandwich BLT. You've got a eggs Benedict that has hard fried eggs. How has the menu evolved over time? And what made you guys say, we are going to offer the breakfast classics, but we're also going to put some creative spins on some stuff and have some fun too?
The menu, like you said before, it's not broke, don't fix it. I mean, we've been running the same menu for a while. We're not a frou-frou kind of breakfast place. We just stick to the classics and do what we do. The menu is really big. I think sometimes for our restaurant, for the breakfast and lunch, we used to be open dinners a long time ago, so there's still dinner menu, and we sell those for lunch. We have dinner specials that we sell with soup, salad, chicken fried chicken or chicken fried steak, roast beef, meatloaf, green beans, mashed potatoes. That stuff's still on the menu, but the menu is pretty large considering how small our kitchen is compared to how many people we get through there on a weekend or even day to day anymore. So,
and that's a challenge because when you have a small kitchen, I mean, everything, especially if the larger your menu gets, the more optimized that kitchen has to be, and everybody has to understand where everybody else is, the timing of each dish, how things are working. How did you guys organize the kitchen to be able to optimize such a small space with a larger menu?
I don't know, to be honest with you. The guys that we have and gals that we have, it's just it works so well. The thing being said is when one person's sick or gone, it throws a whole wrench in the whole system just because that one person's not there. Other people can do it, but maybe not as well. Most people are in the same spots every weekend. So it's hard in that aspect if you want to go on vacation or if you get sick, so that's harder to deal with. But no, the guys that we have we just have it, I don't know, we just have it down pat that we could push, almost sometimes over 800 people in 6 hours on a Sunday.
Holy cow.
So yeah, we're slinging some food out. So
I think that is a very underrated thing that most people don't understand about restaurants is everyone in that kitchen has a very distinct, defined role. And so, yeah, if somebody's sick or if they have a family emergency or, God forbid, if they actually want to take a vacation or take a day off, that does put some stress on the rest of the kitchen. I'm assuming that's where it helps to have somebody like you who is the owner, who has been here for 28, 29 years, like you could easily say, no, I don't want to be in the kitchen anymore. And yet I come in and I look back there and you're in the kitchen. You're slaving over the flat top just like somebody you maybe hired 3 weeks ago. Is that just an attitude that you've always had, just that I'm going to get in there and get it done if I need to?
Yeah, I mean, that's, coming up when I worked at Wendy's, I was just a crew member and went to a crew leader and then assistant manager, co-manager. And, so you see these managers that get hired and they're in the office and you're busting your butt the whole time. I didn't want to be that kind of manager there, which now I'm still, I'm just not going to be the person that sits down. The sad thing is with that, though, my brother and I are on the line, especially on the weekends, cooking, because it's a lot of food to get out that, it just, I would love to have enough people that I don't have to worry about that I actually have to cook every weekend, so that's the hard part as far as the kitchen, just being able to have enough employees to do all the spots and then being able to step away and let them take over. And so,
well, I think part of that too is I think breakfast is viewed as kind of simple food, but it's really not. I mean, egg cookery is something that people just think about scrambled eggs or an over easy egg. Oh, that's whatever. That's a skill to be able to get that. Cooking bacon can be ruined very easily. Making an omelet, that's not necessarily easy. Like to make these dishes at a really good level, you have to be a good cook. You can't throw me on the line and expect me to be able to figure it out. I'm going to be putting out a lot of bad dishes. How do you guys train people to be able to just master these techniques that are so important on seemingly simple dishes, but are actually require a lot of skill and a lot of expertise?
Yeah, just working with them, and then just practice makes perfect. I mean, as far as I usually do the eggs on the weekends, and sometimes I might have, 15, 18 different eggs on the grill that are some, up or over medium or over easy. It gets to be a lot, like you said. It's just eggs, but it's, it takes a little bit of skill to get it.
A ton of skill. And there's so many different ways to cook eggs, and everybody likes their eggs cooked slightly differently. Like, each egg preparation takes a different amount of time. Like, I can't even, oh my gosh, that gives me anxiety thinking about having 18 different eggs and all going at once, all different timing. There's probably, I think, I'm going to ask this, and I think you'll just say, I just know how to do it, so I do it. But how do you do that? Do you just have mental timers going on, or how do you handle all that at once?
Yeah, it's just, I mean, doing it for this long, obviously it's helped. But just trying to, like you said before, time everything. So you're like, okay, this guy's doing the omelets. I need to make sure my eggs are done at the same time his are done, and then just it's the timing part is the hardest part. But also when an order comes in, maybe like a 10 top, and they order 400 man, so each of those have 3 eggs on it, and they're all different. It's just it just takes practice, and so. But I like the challenge sometimes. But yeah.
People, be patient when you go out to brunch. This is the maelstrom that is going on back in the kitchen, and you guys make it look just so flawless. It's really pretty amazing. There's one other menu item that I got to ask you about, because this is something that it might be on a couple other menus around Omaha, but I don't really see it, and I want to come back in and have these. Do you know what I'm going to say?
I was thinking, but you said these, so I don't know now.
Well, I was going to say the German potato pancakes. I don't see those very often. What are those, and what inspired you guys to put those on the menu?
So the reason why, like it says, Vidlak's Brookside Cafe. So it was Brookside Cafe before we bought it, and from the people that we bought it from, I believe 2 ladies started it. they had those on their menu. So that's why we have them on our menu still.
You kept it?
You just kept it. We left the Brookside on there because it was Brookside for so long. And then we put our name from, like I said, when we had the restaurant in the Benson area. I think now we're probably going to drop the Brookside and just have Vidlak's Family Cafe. My daughter's working on changing the logos and stuff. And just because most people call it Vidlak's anymore. They don't call it Brookside Cafe. We had a lot of contractors that used to come in there, and they just always knew it at Brookside because that's what they're. Now we have mostly families that come in there, so it's so.
But the German potato pancakes.
I forgot what the question was.
Will they stay?
Yeah, we've had them this whole time.
What are German potato pancakes? I think a lot of people probably don't even know.
Well, I don't know because we have people say, "Are they authentic German potato cakes?" I don't know. These are just the way that we've always made them. They're made pancake batter, like the egg wash, green onions, hash browns, and then we just fry them on the grill.
So it's like pancakes and hash browns had a baby.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that sounds incredible.
I just thought you were going to say something about the garbage burger when you first started talking.
I was going to ask, what did you think I was going to ask about? What's a garbage burger?
Or garbage burger has the 7-ounce burger, piece of ham, hard-boiled egg, or a over-hard egg, piece of bacon, American cheese, Swiss cheese, then lettuce, tomato, onion, pickle, and served with fries or salad or whatever you'd like. But when we first bought the restaurant, we're like, oh, garbage burger, that doesn't sound that good. Let's take that off and make it the ultimate burger. It never sold. So then we took the ultimate burger, put it back to the garbage burger, and now we've had that since we bought the restaurant also. So
isn't that fascinating how just rebranding something just with a simple change in a name can change it so much?
Yeah. So
because the ultimate burger doesn't sound that fun. The garbage burger sounds like we're taking everything and throwing it on this thing, and it sounds like that's basically what you guys are doing, just throwing the kitchen sink on in between two buns. What makes that a special burger? It's just got a little bit of everything.
A little bit of everything, I guess. Yeah. I feel like you have to eat it with a knife and fork. It's just too tall, at least for me anyway. So,
I went back on you guys' social media way back to 2012, and there was a post that said your favorite dish was the chicken fried steak breakfast. We're 13 years into the future now. Your opinions could have changed. Recipes, I assume recipes didn't change too much, but is chicken fried steak breakfast still your favorite thing on the menu?
I might have switched to chicken fried chicken breakfast, but yes.
Oh.
And that's why I'm 70 pounds heavier than 2012. No, I'm just kidding.
I mean,
maybe it's the chicken fried chicken, the hash browns with the onions and jalapenos and Swiss cheese, and then the 2 over easy eggs and the 3 pieces of white toast. That might have something to do with it.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, that sounds awesome. Okay, I want to get more into the history of the restaurant. So you guys have a restaurant, goes away, you go your separate ways a little bit, your dad wins the lottery. Is that when the conversation starts back up about, hey, we should open another restaurant? Was it always kind of percolating in the back of your minds, or was it just kind of like, now we have this money, now we have an opportunity, let's pounce and do something?
It wasn't in my mind, just because I was working at Wendy's and things were going well for me, but my dad wanted to kind of do that again. So it was already kind of in his mind before he won the money, and my brother found the restaurant for sale, and then that's what got us to get back in.
Was that an easy decision for you? Like when they brought it up, was it just like, yes, I'm in?
Yeah. I mean, it was. Yeah, I quit my job, and then things didn't work out at first, so I had to hurry and go find a couple more jobs for a month until we got the restaurant, and then I quit those jobs, and now I've been working here ever since. So,
was it like just getting right back on the bike again? I mean, did things function very similarly? Did you guys still kind of remember your rhythms from the previous restaurant, or did you kind of have to relearn how to work together?
No, I mean, it was totally different. You know, the one in Benson was really small. It felt like we were so busy, but compared to this place, it wasn't busy at all. We only had one small grill, and I worked with my dad up front. My brother didn't really cook back at our old restaurant. So it took some different, it was different just because everything was laid out different. We had way more, I don't want to say we had way more space than we did. I feel like we need way more space that we have now, but there's not any really way we could redesign the kitchen. So, but yeah, it took some time and getting everything worked out and figuring out how to do everything again. We do things differently than we did before. We did the omelets on the grill where they would, lay it flat on the grill and then roll it up. That's how we did it at the old restaurant, but we do them in the pans now. And so there'd be no way we could do as many omelets as we do on the grill like we did back in Benson. So things were a lot different because it's a lot busier. Even when we took over and it wasn't as busy as now, it still was busier than the one in Benson was. So
you're inheriting a restaurant that was previously open, the Brookside Cafe. So, was it busy from the get-go? Like, did people already recognize that there's a restaurant here and they're going to it, or was there, when people came, was there kind of a curiosity? What were those first weeks and months like?
No, it was established, so a lot of people knew the restaurant. We tried to open for dinners, but it was never ever a restaurant that had evenings. And it felt like when we were open evenings that there was another restaurant opening up the street on Center every single week, it felt like. So we decided, let's just close at 2, and we don't have to work nights anymore. And so sometimes it was fun to work nights to see, a lot of times I would wait tables at night and I wouldn't have to be stuck in the kitchen. So I got to meet people and get to know some of the customers. And, that's what I'm thankful for is our customers. We've had, when COVID happened, we had a lot of great support from all of our customers, a lot of to-go orders. And then we've been busier since COVID we have a lot of the same customers that have always came and helped us out. So I'm really thankful for that.
Did you, I feel like when you're inheriting a restaurant, there's a burden and there's an opportunity, because people are going to come in and they're going to expect, I'm sure the Brookside Cafe had regulars. So people are coming in there, and even though the name is different, the owners are different, the branding's different, they're going to expect that restaurant to still give them that same feel, those same vibes, maybe even some of the same dishes. There's same potato pancakes.
Yep.
But there's also an opportunity for you to say, okay, we get this, we're not a brand new restaurant, so we don't, one of the hardest things for new restaurants is to get your name out there and to get people to come in. But we already have that. We're going to have people who are coming in. We want to please them and give them what they liked about the old place, but we also want to introduce them to us and the spin that we're putting on this restaurant. What was the balance for you guys of doing those two things initially?
Just, putting out good food. And like I said, we used the same menu for a while. We've added a lot more things to it, but we didn't really take many things off of the menu. So a lot of the regulars were still regulars for years. Like I said, it felt like at first it was a lot of contractors hang out and not that many families. Now it's switched. It's more, we still have a lot of the contractors. I just seen one gentleman today that he helped put the arches in between each bay.
Oh, really?
And he helped redo my house, my basement.
Really?
And
wow.
I just saw him out there this afternoon when I went out there to talk to one of my neighbors came for breakfast today. So we still have a lot of the same people that were there when we bought the place. So like I said, I just don't get to be out front as much as I would like to have the interaction with all of our regulars and all the customers, just to say hi and get to know people like I did when we first opened, when I was able to be out front more often, but it'll come. So,
what do you think? You just said you feel like now there's a lot more families, and maybe less business people. What do you think has led to that switch?
Well, as far as business, I mean, more construction workers.
Sure.
So maybe, keep moving farther out west. Maybe they're a little bit farther out working now, and they're not, in the area like they were when we first moved in there. But I don't know if maybe when we first took it over, if some of the families were like, oh, that's a lot of contractors there. Also when we first bought it in '96, you still could smoke on half the side. Is
wow.
It's I don't. It's just more family friendly, I think now, and people come after church on Sundays and they just bring their whole families in now. So
what I think was a really interesting opportunity for you guys is when I look at like the Omaha diner scene and I think about Harold's Coffee House, about Nighthawk's Cafe, about Leavenworth Cafe, which is unfortunately no longer around, but those places were more kind of downtown. It felt like the old established diners were downtown or in that general area. You guys were way out west, away from all of that. Do you think that helped you early on, just being kind of, you were able to provide that diner sense, that diner food, that just good feeling breakfast to a whole different part of town? Now people weren't having to drive 20 minutes to go get their breakfast. It could be 5 minutes. Yeah. Do you think that played a big part in your success?
Yeah, I think it could. I mean, yeah, like you're saying, they don't have to drive all the way downtown to get a diner fill. So
how has the restaurant changed and evolved over time? I know it stayed a lot the same, but in 30 years, things have changed.
Yes, except for the kitchen. The kitchen stayed the same.
Exactly the same?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's the way we've always ran it. So, I mean, still have a 6-foot grill and the 5-foot grill, only one fryer, 6-burner stove for the omelets.
Has there ever been talk about expanding or renovating or anything? Or
we were going to expand because it was only 2 bays. We expanded to the 3rd bay out front, but like I said, it doesn't make the kitchen any bigger. Dr. Dave, the chiropractor, said, "Hey, you want my spot? I can move down when there was an open bay." But it's still people can come in and sit down faster, but we still only have the same amount of room to cook. So it would have to change. I don't even know how we would change it if we would want to make the kitchen bigger, unless the O-bar moved and we could. But it's just too much. It works well, and we can get out a lot of food as small as the kitchen is. So
I want to touch on that family dynamic because, when you got into this, it was you and your dad, Roger, and your brother, Dan. Yeah. But now you've mentioned you've got kids working there, you've got aunts working there, you got cousins working there. I mean, it's a family affair. Was it like that right off the bat, or did that kind of happen over time?
We did have family members. My grandmother, and she was the one that would drive me to the Benson one. She would drive from 59th and my dad's gonna be mad if right by the Benson Tower. And she would drive all the way out there and do register and for us until she passed away. So she's been out there. Yeah, not as many family members now, but we always kind of had family, especially out front. I don't know if, there's not that many people that want to step into the kitchen and get sweaty and, it's just, so.
It's a different lifestyle back there.
Different lifestyle back there. So, yeah. But yeah, my grandpa passed away before, we got this restaurant, my grandpa Vidlak, so he never got to see it. But my grandmother, she would love to, she would work circles around some of the younger kids out there too. So, but yeah, we've always I don't want to start naming names and miss some people. So,
no, it's okay. Yeah. I find it interesting because whenever I have restaurant owners that like work with a lot of family, there are some that just like, the restaurant is just their lives. So they talk restaurant, they talk food all the time. And then there are other ones that make very clear delineations and say, hey, when we're working, we're working. When we're off, we need to put that to the side. We can't let that consume our lives. And obviously, you're going to have conversations about the restaurant when you're not on the job. But they try and separate that as much as possible. What is it like for your family? Is the restaurant just, is it everything to you guys, or are you able to separate and have like a little more work-life balance off the clock?
Now there's not that much stress as far as, like I was saying earlier, when we didn't live together, we can go separate ways. Mm-hmm. So we're not arguing about, hey, you should have done this today. And, that doesn't happen. So like if I'm off, my brother will call me, tell me what we did, how much money we did, how things went, whether or not I might have to do soup in the morning or, so we still talk about the day, but just kind of giving like a little report, what might need to be done, how things went, but not as far as, calling to complain about it. And I just think just getting older and, just we don't have, and like I said, don't have to go home and argue about things that have happened. Because, that's a hard thing to separate. If something happens at work, you need to stay at work, and not bring it home because you're just going to ruin your home life.
Yeah.
So
I think it's healthy to have those boundaries.
Yeah.
In nearly 30 years of being open, you guys have shut down for one extended period, and that was July 10th through 13th of 2023, when you guys went to Vegas to celebrate Roger's 70th birthday. Just tell me about that trip. What was it like to get out of the restaurant and just spend some time together as a family outside that environment?
Well, like you said, that was the first time my dad loves to go to Vegas. My brother goes to Vegas also.
If he's winning the lottery, he should be going to Vegas. If he's got that luck, get him down there.
But I don't gamble and I don't drink, so I didn't go to Vegas. I have 6 kids.
Oh,
so
dang.
I took the time to go on a road trip with my wife and the kids and spend that time. We went to the East Coast and visited my wife's family and went to the Creation Museum and the Ark, and then went to Lancaster County in Pennsylvania to the Amish country, and then went to Buffalo, New York to visit her brother. So I took advantage of that because, like I said, with all the family working, no one gets a family vacation. I think 15 of them went to Vegas, and they had a great time. So now this last July, we closed down again, but instead of going to Vegas, my dad decided that he would stay, and then we redid the whole floor in the kitchen and got some stuff done while we were closed. But yes, they had a great time, and I had a great time too. I just wasn't in Vegas.
Yeah. Well, take me into that family road trip. Like, how important was that for you to kind of have a refresh and an opportunity to just really focus on your immediate family and be able to kind of put the restaurant aside for at least a couple days and travel with them and spend some time with them? What was that like for you?
Yeah, that's really good. At the time, 3,000 miles in a Suburban with 8 people didn't seem that fun. But when you get home, then you start thinking about the trip. It was a great time. I have great kids and great wife, so it's nice getting away. Like I was saying earlier about missing a weekend. I try to, in February, I usually go to Mexico and build houses with our church. So I've taken my older kids so they can see what we have and take it, not advantage, but take it for granted from what other people don't have. We build no electricity, no running water. We have to cut all the wood by hand, mix all the concrete by hand, sift all the sand by hand, but it's so rewarding. But luckily I have a friend that used to work for us that moved to Texas or moved to Tennessee, so I would fly him back in to cover me for that weekend because it's just so hard to miss a weekend. That's, so being closed really was nice for us to drive, because with 6 kids, it's a little expensive to fly, and then you have to rent a car when you get there anyway. So shutting down that week really made it possible for us to do a big road trip like that. So
I think you're doing a great job of shining a light on, again, I mentioned it earlier, but like it's come up again and again in this conversation. It is so difficult for restaurateurs to take time off because you're needed in the restaurant. You're needed to be in front, saying hi to the regulars, making sure they feel comfortable. You're needed to be in the back, cooking potentially because, there's not enough people who want to cook in the kitchen. You're needed to make sure that there's enough soap in the bathrooms and that the bills are being paid and everything's up to code. Like, you don't really get an opportunity to take very many breaks. This is a very unique job because I think so many people are just used to working 9 to 5 and then you get the weekends. Well, the weekends are the opposite for you. They're not off. They're, okay, now the pressure gets turned up to 110.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even know what I really want to ask there. Just what type of personality does it take to be able to have that kind of a lifestyle? Because I think it's something that I don't think you would label it as this, but I would call it really special and something that's very unique.
Yeah, and luckily, with the restaurant closing at 2, we have the nights off, so that helps. And then, like I said, with all 3 of us working, I'm usually off Wednesdays and Thursdays, so that's my weekend. And my brother's off Mondays and Tuesdays. My dad comes in every day, but he's usually off. He usually works Friday, Saturday, Sunday, but he usually comes in, just visits and hangs out for a while. And so it's just, trying to find the balance. Everybody's like, oh, you own a business, you have to be rich. There's a lot. You don't just sit down and rake in the money. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's a lot of work, especially a restaurant. When I hear celebrities or actors, oh, I'm going to buy a restaurant, I'm like,
good
why
luck.
would you do that?
Yeah.
I mean, they're not going to work it, but I mean, it's like, it's don't get me wrong. We've been very blessed with it, but it is a lot of work. I mean, just being there cooking off bacon after we close for the next day. We cook off 300 pounds of bacon a week, just to keep up, so you're not 2:00, you're out the door. I mean, some days, yes, but some days you're there, like you said, fixing the toilet, doing, whatever needs to be done.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I don't know. I don't think I'd trade it for. Some days, if you ask me that question, I might answer it differently. But just working with family and the employees that we have, is good.
You mentioned some of those other locations that didn't quite work out, and I don't want to, talk negatively about failures or anything like that. That's not what this is for. But I think this is a unique opportunity to help people understand and pull back the curtain on why it's not easy for a restaurant to open multiple places. I mean, I see all the time, a restaurant downtown, people say, oh, you got to open one out west, or the opposite. Somebody opens in Gretna or something. They're like, oh, you got to come to Village Point. We need you here. Can you just shine a light on how difficult that is to even just go from one location to 2 locations? Why is that such a big jump for restaurants?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. Like I said, if we're in Gretna too soon, if, a lot of times if they're going to go to dinner, because we were open for dinners there, we had a liquor license there also, which was another pain that I don't want to do again, because I would have to serve because a lot of the waitresses weren't old enough. I'd have to run out and check IDs. But I feel like if they're going to go to dinner, they're going out of town to go somewhere else. I don't know. I'm not just picking on. I just went up and worked the restaurant in Gretna, so that's why I refer to that one a lot. But yeah, I feel like you're spread thin. I don't know how some of these people do it. Like Billy's Cafe, he's got so many. I don't know. It feels like sometimes one is enough. I mean, it's plenty, I feel like. So I don't know. It's just, I feel like spread thin is what I like to say, because now I'm doing everything before I had my brother and my dad to help, so yeah, it's just, and then moving, like I said, I just got someone the other day. It's like, oh, you need to come down to Bellevue, in a different part of Bellevue, and it's like, it's easier said than done,
That ain't happening. Unless you win another pick 5.
Yeah.
Let's just keep piling those up.
I think back then it was capped at 30,000, so it wasn't like now where it can
explode a little bit more. Yeah,
I could be telling the wrong story too. I mean, I know he won it, but I just don't want to. All of a sudden, my dad's like, It wasn't 30,000, but I'm pretty sure it was.
Yeah. The exact amount isn't important. All that matters is that lottery was won, and we got Vidlaks because of it, and that is a win for Omaha.
Okay.
So we've done a lot of talking about the past. I want to talk about the future. As you look at the future of Vidlaks, and so much of, I think, our conversation has been, you guys just kind of keep your head down and keep moving. And it's just, we know what we're doing. We make great breakfast. We make people feel welcome. Let's just keep doing that. Let's keep doing that. We have a good thing going. But when you look at the future, is it just more of the same, or are there ideas in your mind where you think Vidlaks could go that it hasn't gone before?
I guess I never thought of that. I mean, everything that we've been doing has been going so well for us that, maybe, like I said, finding more staff so I could step back a little bit, and my brother we don't have to be stuck, manning the stations.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess I really haven't thought about as far as doing anything crazy or.
Well, I don't think I'm not saying you should have. Yeah. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Like the story that I led this podcast off with. When I come in and get breakfast at Vidlaks, it tastes like and reminds me of the breakfast that I got. Oh man, I'm going to date myself 20 years ago now. Yeah. And that's a positive thing, because not only is it delicious, but I have that nostalgia. I'm just like, these pancakes. I love these pancakes. Yeah. So yeah, you guys are doing something. Sometimes it doesn't need to be changed. Yeah. You can just enjoy it as it is. All right, I got 2 more questions to get you out of here that I like to ask just about everybody I have on the show. The first one is this. What is one thing about the restaurant industry that you think diners don't understand that you wish they did understand?
I just think maybe just like we were talking earlier, the timing, to trying to get everything timed out at once. I know some restaurants we put it up as it comes out, and then some people at the table have some of the food. Some people might be done before the other people get their food because they want it all to be hot. Well, we try to have it all timed so it comes up at the same time and hot.
Mm-hmm.
That is a talent, or takes talent to do that, but also maybe
that is an incredible skill that I think most people don't understand. Yeah. To be able to, even just on one dish, like if you're talking about having the eggs and a chicken fried steak and a side of bacon, those things are all 3 being cooked separate, potentially by 3 different people, if I'm understanding it right. That's one plate, and all those things have to be finished and hot and ready at relatively pretty much the exact same time. Now you multiply that by however many diners are at a table, by how many tables are in the restaurant. That about makes my head spin. That I just cannot even comprehend, and I just tip my hat to you guys because I know I'll never be able to do that, but congratulations to you that you've mastered it. And I want to get you out of here on a positive note. So what is your favorite thing? I mean, you've spent almost your entire life in the restaurant industry. What's your favorite thing about working in the restaurant industry?
Just the people, especially the customers, going out there and just saying hi, talking to them, and knowing different, things about different clients that we have. And the families that, of our employees that we get to meet and come closer to them. When we have Christmas parties, we either have them start off at my dad's house and then my house, and then my brother and I take turns every other year and have everybody come over and hang out. So yeah, just the people, is what I like about Good and bad sometimes. No, I'm just kidding.
Most of the time, it's good.
It's always usually good.
Well, I mean, this restaurant, it needs no kudos. It needs no recommendations from me. Everyone knows Vidlak's and just the reputation that it has. But if I can give any extra push for people to go visit Vidlak's. Great atmosphere, great food, great vibes, great people behind it. Eric, thank you so much for giving me the time. This is your day off, and you came in and did the podcast. I am so appreciative, man. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. I appreciate you having me on.
Omaha, as always, thanks for eating with us.